There are strict rules about how long we stay on a call. They exist for a reason: resource management, liability, and safety. But after everything I'd seen, those rules felt like guidelines for a different world. So when another private call lit up my console at 2:07 a.m., I didn't wait for confirmation. I broke protocol. 911, what's your emergency? I expected static. Maybe her voice. Maybe him. But what I got was nothing. A flat, empty hum that barely counted as sound. I spoke again. Hello? Is anyone there? Then faint breathing. Soft, shaky. And finally, you came back. Emily. Her voice was clearer this time. More real. Less like a recording. I never left, I said. Are you still in the house? I don't know. It feels different now. Can you tell me what you see? She didn't answer at first. Then, everything's darker. Like it's nighttime, but there's no moon. I asked her to describe her surroundings. Walls. Ceiling. Any lights? There's nothing. Just black. Like she was calling from a void. I didn't care what protocol said. I stayed with her. Emily, can you move? Are you hurt? I don't think I have legs anymore. That hit like a punch to the gut. What do you mean? They feel gone. Like they were never there. I rub my temples, heart thudding. Okay, just breathe. You're doing great. I hear him again. My whole body tensed. What's he saying? He's angry. Angry why? Because I talked to you. What does he want from you? To stay. And then she said something I'll never forget. He said I'm not the first. I stared at the console. What does that mean? She hesitated. He said you talked to the others, too. But you forgot. What others? Then the breathing changed. It got deeper. Slower. Not hers. Him. You shouldn't be here, he said. His voice wasn't just in my ear. It was in the room. In my head. I want to help her, I said. Let her go. She is not yours to save. Static swallowed the line, louder than ever before. My headset screeched with distortion. I yanked it off, but the sound didn't stop. It echoed through the speakers now, over the intercom, into the whole dispatch floor. Everyone heard it this time. People stood up, eyes wide, looking at each other in confusion and fear. And in the middle of the chaos, I saw my supervisor. He looked right at me and mouthed, "Stop." But it was too late. The voice returned, louder now, layered with others. Dozens, hundreds, whispers, screams, pleas, all overlapping into one unbearable chorus. And one voice pierced through them all, Emily's. Help me. The call dropped. The silence afterward was worse than the noise. Phones buzzed. People shouted. Texts rushed to reboot systems. But none of it touched me. Because in my headset, completely unplugged, I still heard her. Faint. Fragile. Jason, don't forget me again. Then nothing. The next morning, I was called into an internal review. They wanted answers. What I'd heard, what I'd done, and most importantly, why I didn't follow procedure. I told them the truth. Not the haunted version, but the version they could accept. Untraceable call. Possible child in danger. Unusual interference. They nodded, took notes, said the right things. But I could tell they didn't believe me. They never do, until it finds them. After the meeting, one of the tech guys, new, maybe 25, pulled me aside. I listened to the recording, he said, voice shaking, just before it got wiped. Yeah, I heard her. She said my name too. He looked pale, eyes sunken, like he hadn't slept in days. I wanted to tell him to forget it, to walk away, but it was too late for that. "You'll hear her again," I said. "Don't answer." He nodded slowly, like he understood but didn't want to. That night, I sat alone in my apartment, surrounded by every document I'd saved, every audio snippet, every image. I locked it all in a fireproof box, placed it in the closet, and shut the door. I didn't want to hear her again, but I knew I would, because I broke protocol. And now, I'm part of the story. The next time the line rings, I won't answer, but I know someone will, and it won't let them go. The fireproof box wasn't enough. I started writing things down by hand, names, phrases, dates, anything that could matter. I didn't trust technology anymore. I kept seeing things out of the corner of my eye. Not people, just shapes, flickers of movement, like someone ducking just out of sight. My phone rang once. No number, no sound, just one ring, then silence. I didn't answer. I couldn't, but I saved the log, because one detail stood out, the timestamp. 2:07 a.m. Exactly the same time Emily had called the night before. A perfect loop. It wasn't just haunting me. It was resetting the story, starting it over again, waiting for the next chapter. The night after the call dropped, everything was too quiet. No glitches, no voices, no calls from unknown numbers. For the first time in days, the dispatch center felt normal again. But that silence wasn't comforting. It was a warning. I tried to distract myself, took on regular calls, handled paperwork, made coffee. But under all of it was a weight. The feeling that something was waiting. Just past 3 a.m., I heard something strange. Not a call, not static, something else. Laughter. Soft, childlike, echoing through the comm system. It wasn't coming through my headset. It was in the room. I looked around, expecting someone to comment, to react. No one did. Either they didn't hear it, or they couldn't. I walked over to the equipment room, pretending to check one of the backup servers. I just needed to clear my head. Get away. Inside, I saw something that froze me. On the back wall, where dispatchers sometimes pin up notes and reminders, someone had tacked a photo. A black and white image of a house, barely visible, burnt, overgrown. In the lower corner, a figure stood. Small, blurry, wearing a dress. Emily. I hadn't put it there. No one I asked claimed they had either. I pulled the photo down. On the back, scrawled in pencil, "Remember me." That night, I started having the dreams. They weren't just images. They were relived moments. Audio warped into visuals. I could hear her voice guiding me through pitch-black corridors. Could feel her panic crawling across my skin. He was always just ahead, just around the corner, always watching. And I knew somehow that if I reached him in the dream, it would be over. Not the dream me. I started recording the dreams, writing every detail I could remember. They weren't random. They were pieces, clues, something trying to reach out. One night, I woke up and found my laptop open. The same file was playing over and over. An audio loop from the first call. Emily whispering, "He's back." Only this time, at the end of the loop, a new voice was added. Mine, saying, "I see him." But I'd never said that. Not once. It was starting to predict things. Insert words I hadn't spoken yet. Then one morning, my supervisor pulled me into his office. "We're doing a rotation," he said. "You're being transferred." Why? He avoided my eyes. "Too much stress. You need rest. A break." But I knew what he really meant. They thought I was losing it. Maybe I was. But it didn't matter. Because that night, for the first time, Emily appeared in my dream, and she spoke directly to me. "You're next," she said. "But I'm still awake," I whispered. She smiled, a hollow expression. "Not for long." When I got home after that shift, I locked every door and window, turned off every light, and sat in my living room with a baseball bat and my phone flashlight. It was the most childish thing I'd done in years, and I didn't care. Because I wasn't waiting for a person. I was waiting for a presence. My phone buzzed just after 2:07 a.m. No number. Just a message. "You're almost there." I didn't open it. I just stared at it for an hour, heart pounding. The next day, I tried to reach out to someone, anyone, who might believe me. I posted anonymous questions in forums, uploaded audio clips. Most thought it was a prank. Some called it ARG bait. A few offered help. One user, a retired dispatcher, messaged me privately. Asterisk, I had a call like that once. Same voice. Same girl. It doesn't go away. It changes hands. Asterisk. That one message sent chills down my spine. I begged them for more info. They never responded again. Their account was deleted the next morning. The signs started creeping into my home next. Scratches on the inside of my closet door. Cold spots in my hallway. My landline phone ringing without being plugged in. And each time, the same whisper, "Don't forget me." I tried burning the photo from the equipment room. It turned to ash. But when I opened my drawer the next morning, there it was, intact. The pencil message even darker than before. I don't know if Emily is still trapped or if she's become part of whatever he is. But I know this, whatever is on the other end of that line, it's not finished with me. And I'm starting to understand something terrible. The call doesn't just haunt you. It prepares you. And maybe that's the real horror of it all. Not the voices, not the screams, but the slow, inescapable realization that the moment you hear her, you've already answered. Transferring me didn't help. They moved me to a smaller, slower precinct. Fewer calls, less pressure. But the quiet was worse. It left too much room for the memories to claw their way back in. At first, everything seemed normal. I answered calls, logged data, made reports. But I couldn't stop checking the logs, watching for it. And then, a week into the new post, I found it. Not a call. A note, taped under my keyboard. It read, "She's still waiting." No signature. No handwriting I recognized. Just those 3 words, written in block letters. I checked the cameras. That part of the room was blind. No one could have seen it placed. My co-workers didn't say much to me. Maybe they'd been told I was fragile. Or maybe they sensed something off. Either way, I kept to myself. Then one of them, a guy named Ron, pulled me aside. Said he'd seen my name in an old dispatch report from a call I supposedly answered. But it was dated 5 years before I even started working. The transcript. Girl's voice. Intruder. Closet. Then static. Sounded familiar. Too familiar. I asked for a copy. It had been archived off-site. He said he'd get it for me. The next day, he didn't show up for work. No one could reach him. The file never surfaced. It was like it was happening again. Like the loop was widening, pulling in others. One morning I found scratches inside my locker. 3 lines. Deep. Ragged. I hadn't told anyone about the scratches I found in my apartment. They were identical. I started documenting everything again. Journals, audio logs, sketches. I uploaded copies to multiple drives. Mailed physical versions to myself. Just in case. But things kept vanishing. Files erased. Journals blank. Drives corrupted. It was like the more I tried to hold onto the truth, the more it slipped away. One night, the phone rang at home. Not my cell. The landline I never used. I answered. Jason. It was Emily. But something was wrong. Her voice, it wasn't scared. It was flat. Like she was reading from a script. I'm here now, she said. Where are you? A pause. Then she said, inside. The line went dead. I turned around, expecting something, anything. But there was nothing. Just silence. Later that night, I noticed something even worse. The dream changed. I was no longer watching Emily. She was watching me. Following. Mimicking. And one night, in the reflection of my bathroom mirror, I saw her, standing behind me, smiling. And I swear, just before the lights flickered and the mirror cracked, she whispered, "Your turn." I left the apartment that same night and checked into a motel across town. I didn't even pack a bag. Just grabbed my phone and my car keys and drove. I chose a place that didn't require ID. Paid in cash. Slept with the lights on. Didn't matter. She followed. I heard knocking on a motel door at 2:07 a.m. sharp. Measured. Like Morse code. I didn't answer. Instead, I looked through the peephole and saw nothing. But when I opened the door at dawn, there it was on the floor. A drawing. Crayons on motel stationery. 3 stick figures holding hands. One was taller, me. One smaller, Emily. The third, much taller, was scribbled in dark red. No face. Just black eyes. On the bottom, in shaky letters, "We're family now." I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat down on the edge of the bed and stared at the wall for hours. Because that's when I realized something I hadn't before. I'd been thinking I could save her. That maybe somehow I could pull her out of whatever place she was trapped in. But I was wrong. She didn't need saving. She was the bait. And I had taken it. The entity, whatever he was, used her like a signal flare. A familiar cry in the dark. A story that compels someone to listen. And once you do, it listens back. By the end of the week, I stopped working. I couldn't function. Couldn't take calls. Couldn't trust what was real anymore. Voices on the line bled into my dreams. Dreams bled into waking life. And every morning, without fail, the landline rang. Once. Always at 2:07 a.m. Always followed by silence. I unplugged it. Threw it out. Smashed it with a hammer. Still rang. Still answered. Now I understand. I was never the dispatcher. I was always the call. I tried moving. Thought maybe putting distance between me and the place, between me and the memory, would help. It didn't. New town. New apartment. New job. But the same feeling. The same dreams. The same knock at the door at exactly 2:07 a.m. This time, I didn't wait to see what followed. I piled furniture against the door, turned up the TV, played music all night, but I could still hear her voice. Faint, beneath everything. Jason. One night, I came home and my door was already open. Inside, everything was untouched, except for the mirror in the hallway. Words scratched into the glass. Why did you leave me? I started seeing her face everywhere. In reflections, windows, even other people's eyes. Just for a second. Just long enough to know I hadn't imagined it. I found a therapist. Didn't tell her the whole story. Just said I was having nightmares. She gave me sleeping pills. They only made it worse. The dreams got clearer, more vivid. And now I wasn't just in them. I was part of them. I was back in that house. The burned remains of 1432 Hollow Glen. Except in the dream, it wasn't ruined. It was intact. Pristine. I could walk its halls. Hear its creaking floors. Smell the dust and age. And always, at the end of the hall, was the closet. Closed. waiting. One night, I finally opened it. Inside, I saw the phone. Still black. Still perfect. Still ringing. I answered. This time, she didn't speak. He did. "You're home." I woke up screaming. The next day, I found a photo slipped under my apartment door. No note. No envelope. Just the image. Me asleep. In bed. From above. Someone, or something, had been in the room. I called the police. They found no signs of entry. Nothing stolen. No fingerprints. I showed them the photo. They said it looked doctored. Too grainy. Too fake. But I knew it was real. Because I could see her in the background. Barely visible. Watching. Waiting. And then the phone started ringing again. Every night. Different numbers. Blocked callers. But always the same voice. Jason. Or worse, silence. Followed by a low hum. The sound I used to hear on the line. The sound that meant he was near. My new job didn't last long. I stopped showing up. I couldn't focus. Couldn't sleep. I spent my days trying to stay awake, and my nights trying to avoid the inevitable. But you can't run from something that's not chasing you. You can only delay it. You can only hope you're not the last. One afternoon, while sorting through my old backup drives, I found something I hadn't seen before. A folder named 1432. I didn't create it. Inside were dozens of files, images, recordings, even a few documents in plain text. Each one named with a date. Most of the dates were years, even decades, before I was born. I opened a file labeled June 2nd, 1974. It was a voice recording. A little girl whispering. He's in the hallway. Then another file. October 5th, 1982. Same voice. Same words. It wasn't Emily. Or maybe it was. Maybe it always had been. Maybe she wasn't one person at all. Maybe she was all of them. A signal passed down through time. A chain of voices stretching across generations. Each one doomed to echo the same warning. And each listener, each dispatcher, becomes the next link. The last file was dated 2 days in the future. I clicked it. Static. Then, "You will join us soon." That was it. No other message. Just inevitability. I deleted the folder. Unplugged everything. But I knew it wouldn't matter. The phone doesn't need electricity. The voices don't need permission. And the story doesn't need a new chapter. It just waits for one. Now I don't sleep at night. I sit up, staring at the wall, waiting for the knock. It always comes. So far, I haven't answered again. But the longer I wait, the closer it feels. Like a breath on the back of my neck. Like a whisper just behind the static. If you're still listening, then I've failed. Because I swore I wouldn't tell this story. Not to anyone. Not again. But here I am. Because the truth has a way of clawing its way out. And maybe if someone else knows, it'll stop. Maybe. I don't think this is a ghost story. I think it's a contagion. A virus passed through sound. Through memory. Through belief. That little girl's voice, Emily, or whatever she is the bait. She's the cry that catches you. Lures you in. And once you're listening, once you care, that's when he finds you. That's when you become part of it. I've seen things I can't explain. Not just voices and calls, but people who vanish. Records that rewrite themselves. Tech that behaves like it has intent. Systems that should be dead flickering back to life, just long enough to whisper something terrible. And always the same words. Remember me. I think that's the point. This thing, it doesn't want to hurt you. Not at first. It wants to be known. It wants to be remembered. And the moment you start telling the story, you become the story. People will think you're crazy. They'll laugh, dismiss you, forget you. That's the real curse. Not the voice, not the visions, but the loneliness. The knowledge that you've seen something no one else can hold on to. Because it doesn't just haunt the line. It erases itself from everything, except you. And that weight, it grows. Until you have to speak it. Until you have to share it. So here I am, telling you. Because I don't know how much longer I can keep this in. Because I need someone else to carry a piece of it. So maybe, just maybe, it won't come back for me. But listen closely. Because if you hear a girl whispering from a phone that shouldn't be ringing, don't answer. Please, don't answer. Because the moment you do, you're no longer the listener. You're the next story. You might think this is just another scary story on the internet. Another creepypasta someone wrote late at night to give you chills. But I promise you, it's not that. This isn't fiction. It's documentation. It's a survival guide disguised as confession. You have no idea how many stories like this are out there. Buried in forums. Whispered across old voicemail tapes. Deleted files from systems that shouldn't forget. Dispatchers, responders, technicians. All with fragments of the same encounter. The same girl. The same voice. And the same silence afterward. Why doesn't anyone believe it? Because they never remember it the same way. They think they dreamt it, hallucinated it, stress-induced psychosis. Some of them even turn themselves in, thinking they imagined something awful, that they did something awful. That's the real genius of this thing. It knows how to frame the narrative. It knows how to bury the truth. But every once in a while, someone like me slips through the cracks. Someone who remembers too much, who hears it too clearly, who sees too deeply into the static. And the worst part, I'm starting to understand him. The voice, the presence. I think he was one of us once. A listener, a dispatcher, a helper, someone who answered the call and never came back. That's what this thing does. It feeds on our instinct to care, to respond, to rescue. It uses that empathy like a hook. And once it has you, it rewrites you. That's why I'm telling you this. Because if I don't, I'll become him. Another whisper in the background. Another shadow in someone's hallway. Another memory clawing to be remembered. So here's my last warning. If a number you don't recognize ever calls you, if a little girl's voice asks for help, if she says she's in the closet, don't ask questions. Don't look for answers. Don't listen too long. Just hang up. Because if you don't, it won't stop until your voice joins ours.